Content warning: this episode contains discussions about domestic violence. Listener discretion is advised. If you or someone you know is affected, please seek support from local resources or helplines. An-Nisa's helpline is 832-324-9111. You are not alone.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Let's Talk, Chatter That Matters. It's DVAM month, so we're continuing with our domestic violence topics. Today, I am so proud to have with me Carvana Cloud. Carvana Cloud is the executive director of the Empowered Survivor, which is a culturally sensitive DV organization that works with African American women or women of African descent. Hi, Carvana, and welcome.
Thank you, Sada. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here because Carvana, you are one of the first people that we at An-Nisa met for the domestic violence community, right? Like that really brought us into the main fields. So tell us, how long have you been working with or dealing with domestic violence?
Well, again, thank you so much for having me. I myself am a child survivor of domestic violence. And so unfortunately, I was exposed to that when I was a young girl. And that really ignited my passion to make sure that other people and other children wouldn't have to see or suffer with the domestic violence and the consequences that stem from domestic violence. After I became a lawyer, I started off as a prosecutor in 2005. So I've been working in this space for nearly 20 years.
Oh, wow.
I wanted immediately to go to the domestic violence division. I love the domestic violence cases that would come before me. I would get very excited about them because it was critical to make sure that those survivors had what they needed as far as justice is concerned.
Absolutely.
And as a prosecutor, your job is to protect crime victims.
You know, you say that. It's funny because when we deal so many times, and I hate bringing anyone under the bus, but I mean, my clients don't even know who their prosecutor is. They haven't even been contacted. They have no idea, oh, did I get a lawyer? Did I not? Did that emails have been lost in translation? It's sometimes it's a mess. So, I mean, we need people like you there who actually care to make a difference and who care about their clients and making sure that they do get justice.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the main concerns that I hear as well. Who actually is trying my case?
Yeah.
And I think prosecutors have to understand and be trauma informed to know how important that is.
Absolutely.
They have a lot of cases.
Yes.
Domestic violence cases aren't the only cases they have. We understand that. And there is a domestic violence division there at the DA's office. But at the same time, they need to take a moment just to sit and recognize, and whether that's using victim assistance coordinators or other folks in the office to help them make those calls. That survivor needs to know who they can call when they have an issue.
Because it's already anxiety driven, right?
Absolutely.
They're so anxious, and then when they don't hear from anybody. But what do you, Carvana, you've been in this field for almost 20 years. What have you noticed about domestic violence? Like, have the numbers gone down? There's so many different organizations, right? We have all these organizations working with victims, working with survivors. Has that helped bring the numbers down?
Well, first off, I want to thank the organizations that do exist.
Absolutely.
I think it's important to acknowledge that they do exist and they were created to do this work.
Yes.
Right? Houston, Harris County is a huge place. And so I appreciate the organizations that do exist. But sadly, I must admit that we do see our numbers going up.
Yeah.
Numbers going up as far as not just your regular hit, slap, kick, or threaten case, but strangulation cases, high risk cases that lead to homicide. Those case numbers are going up and they're increasing. And sadly, they're increasing, and you see the same person being hurt over and over and over again, sadly, until some of them are killed.
Oh my gosh, I know, I know exactly what you're talking about, and we see that in our community as well. That's why you guys started the DART program, right?
Absolutely.
So, what
Absolutely.
does DART stand for, and what is it?
So DART stands for the Domestic Abuse Response Team.
Oh, okay.
And DART started after I was the bureau chief at the DA's office, and I was looking at the numbers and actually trying to figure out why we had so many homicides in Harris County.
Mhm.
What could we do to reduce the number of homicides?
We're number one or number two?
Oh, we're number one.
We're number one.
And
Yep.
and we've been number one for years.
For years,
For
yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, well, it's a large county. That's why we're number one." Oh, well, they make up excuses, but that at the end of the day, we need to make sure we have a program like DART that works to prevent
Yes.
homicides. And DART responds to high risk cases involving strangulation,
Mhm.
cases involving where there's a weapon involved, and continuous family violence cases where you just get the same person that's abused over and over and over again. Sadly, we can't go to every case and
Yeah.
every case or 911 call that's made regarding domestic violence, but it includes a police officer,
Mhm.
a social worker that's employed by the police department, and a forensic nurse examiner that's managed by the Empowered Survivor. That program is managed by the Empowered Survivor.
Oh, excellent. So they all come together and then they work with the client that has,
Yes.
gone through that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That would probably cause so many more people to get those exams,
Right.
to actually get seen, because so many times you just put it in the back burner, right? You just
Right.
let it go, or you don't even want to, think about it. You call the police, you
Right.
get that done, and then you're like, okay, no, I don't want to do it anymore. And
I don't
that's
want
where
to
you
do
take
anything
people
else.
taking cases back,
That's exactly
right?
right. Or they're wanting to drop their case,
Dropping their
right?
case,
I want
yeah.
to drop the charges. I want to
Yes.
move forward. There was a case, there have been several cases where if you're a darker skinned woman, you can't see the strangulation marks that sometimes exist after strangulation. And before we had the institution of the strangulation supplement and different things like that, police would come, they would check you out. If they didn't see any marks, they would say, well, I can't prove strangulation. And they didn't take the case.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
that is dangerous.
That is
That is
dangerous.
very dangerous, because then that abuser becomes more empowered to continue the abuse. But now when you have DART, you have a forensic nurse examiner on scene
Excellent.
that knows how to conduct these exams and can tell beyond the marks on the neck whether it's petechiae, redness in the eyes, whether there's swelling, whether there's different symptoms and signs that you can tell as a result of strangulation. And
Oh,
our
wow.
nurses know this, and they can tell that, and those exams are then forwarded to the prosecutor's office, and they can use those to prosecute those cases.
Oh my gosh, that's excellent. That's excellent. And it's innovative ideas like these that we really need to bring out in the field to be able to reduce these numbers, right?
Absolutely.
What do you think is most important right now for the DV arena?
I think that, like you said earlier, there's so many organizations, and then of course we have judges, and then we have the DA's office, and we have the protective order court on the family side. And I think what we need to do is to create really a true coordinated community response.
Oh my gosh.
When it comes to domestic violence.
That is exactly what we have been talking about. I feel like we're competing as agencies for these, government grants.
Right.
And so what that does is it takes away from the synergy,
right,
that you get from working together.
Right.
And our survivors need us to work together so that we can give the maximum benefit to them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because ultimately it's about them.
Yes.
And I think that...
And we've lost that somehow.
You took the words literally right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
We've lost that.
Yeah.
And that does nothing for the survivor, for their families, for their children, for the extended families that exist, and especially in communities of color. When you are a victim of domestic violence, it's not just affecting you.
Yeah.
It affects so many people in your family and your support system. So why not come together? DART is just one example example
Yeah.
of a coordinated community response. But if you're bringing all of those agencies and
Yes.
institutions together and we're marching together and
Yes.
we're on the same page, there's no telling what those numbers. And I'm telling you, if we do that, those homicide numbers will go down.
Absolutely. And not only the coordinated community response with the teams that are doing it, but also teaching the communities to welcome these survivors when they leave their homes, being able to have that social stratosphere, being able to have that child care support, being able to have that support that comes from your community as well. Because a lot of survivors don't feel that support. So, like, if we can just, change the dynamics of how a survivor is treated, how she's or he is helped and processes the whole, what they're going through, I think it'll make a huge difference. And on the children too, because the children are the silent victims. What you went through as a child survivor, I mean, I can't even imagine. Because how you processed it might not have even been what happened, but your processing of it is what lives with you.
Absolutely. And if you don't process it, if you don't get help, it'll affect, if you get married, it'll affect your marriage. If you're in a dating relationship, you could have something that could trigger you and you can feel that. I mean, you said something about the social stratosphere. That's why cultural specific advocacy is so important because people are embarrassed to even admit that they have been a victim of abuse. And so when people know, people are scared to come back into the community because they don't know how they'll be accepted, if they'll be accepted. Will their children be looked at differently? And all of those things are things that people think about. But when you have culturally specific agencies such as An-Nisa, such as the Empowered Survivor, you're able to say, it's okay. This is how we're going to get you back in. This is how you can move and feel comfortable. And it's a process, but we got your back. And that's what they need to know. They're not alone.
Absolutely.
We got their back.
That is such a good point. That is such a quick, and they need to know that we have their back. And I think we all need to have their backs, right?
Absolutely. And we need to have each other's backs. This is about collaboration, not competition.
Exactly.
This is about collaboration, not competition. And so simply because I'm not in the Muslim community doesn't mean I don't need to do what I need to do or can do to be able to help a Muslim sister.
Absolutely.
Be restored, be healed, and have peace after a domestic violence incident.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. We may see somebody, a Muslim woman may be, for example, seen by the dark team.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I know very well that I don't have the knowledge and the expertise that you all do at An-Nisa, but we have a relationship. So I can do what I can on the scene and keep her safe, but I'm picking up that phone and I'm calling you. I'm calling BB. I'm saying, can you all help me? I need to refer. She needs this, this, and this. And then whatever you need to do, I'll pass her over. But she's starting to trust the system. She's starting to see that multiple people care about her and she's not alone.
And it's the only way. It's the only way to get her out, to empower her truly. Right?
Absolutely. And that's what it's about. It's about empowerment. It's about safety at first, obviously. It's about long-term healing, but ultimately it's about empowerment. How can someone be empowered after a horrible incident or experience with domestic violence? It's possible.
It is.
It's possible, but we have to do better about working together.
Absolutely. And that is the number one thing we need to do as a coordinated community response, actually work with the clients together. And then the other thing is prevention, right? Teaching healthy relationships, making sure people understand what a healthy relationship looks like. So when we combine the prevention and we combine working with the survivor, we got this. We can make it happen. So this DVAM month, let's work on working together.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you so much for coming. We loved having you and we loved hearing your story. One more thing I want to ask you. I don't know. I hope it's not too personal, but when you were a child and you were going through this, did you ever feel like it was your fault?
Sometimes.
That's what scares me the
Sometimes.
most when I work with my clients' children, that feeling of fear of not being safe in your home, which is supposed to be your safest space. And then having that, could I have done something or is this my fault? It just messes with your
Well,
mind.
because children don't understand why the two people
Yes.
that are supposed to protect them and love them the most are fighting.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. And so you think, well, is it because I didn't wash the dishes?
Yeah.
Is it because I didn't
I
do my
said something,
homework?
or yes.
Is it because I
Yeah.
said something wrong?
Yeah.
What did I do? And so you start to take on some of that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not their fault.
Absolutely.
But they don't know or understand
Or
or
understand
realize
it.
that.
And that's what you mentioned
Thank you for
earlier.
asking that
Oh,
question.
you're welcome. And thank you for answering it so honestly. And when you mentioned that unless it's processed, it affects your relationships
Yes.
later on. That's why our number one thing this year at An-Nisa is to work with the youth, to work with our clients' children. We are doing everything we can. We have a tutoring academy, we have play therapy, we have neurofeedback for the kids. We have, we are doing everything we can to make sure that those kids, we got their backs.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
That's awesome. I'll just and please allow me to say this. Anissa is very special in that you realize and you get the whole picture.
yes.
You understand domestic violence, you're trauma informed. The neurofeedback program is phenomenal. When I first heard about it, I was just blown away.
Thank you.
I was at the DEA's office at the time, and you just really have taken time to understand all of the needs of the survivors, and that's important. And actually your model inspired me to create the Empowered Survivor.
Oh, thank
And in this way, the CDC says when you have the 5 social determinants of health in place, you can live a happy, healthy life.
Mhm.
That's economics, that's education, that's social and community, that's neighborhood and environment, and that's healthcare. When you have each of those things intact,
Yeah.
you can be happy, healthy, and thrive.
Yeah.
I learned that from watching what you all have done here.
Oh,
So
thank you.
that has been inspirational. That's not competitive.
Yeah.
That's been inspirational. And we can bring that to the African American community. And that's what we do every single day. So you all keep doing what you're doing because you're truly changing lives.
Thank you so much, Carvana. And so are you. With everything that you're doing, you are truly making a difference. Your innovation, your ideas, and creativity have really put a mark in the domestic violence community. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much.